Okay, we're going to start off with how to draw a scatter plot on your TI graphing calculator, TI-83, 84 graphing calculator. I'm going to break these up into a couple of different videos. This is all the scatter plot video, how to turn your diagnostics on, and how to do a correlation coefficient. Um, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started. This is what you would do if you did it by hand. You have to create a table, create an XY, so an X-axis and a Y-axis. You'd have to figure out your scale on the x-axis and your scale on the y-axis. And then at that point, then you have to plot your ordered pairs. It's pretty straightforward, nothing different than what you did in middle school, high school. So, but the graphing calculator will do this for you, and then the more advanced features of turning the diagnostics on and doing the correlation coefficient and the regression line are what's really cool about the graphing calculator. So I'm going to go ahead and get paused and come back with how to get through this. Okay, I'm going to use my trusty TI Smart View calculator that you'll be able to see on the screen. It works just like yours, maybe looks a little bit different, but same idea. I did leave off one little command there, and that command is to get to the number 1, you press the stat key. Okay, so to press the stat key, we're going to go right in the middle of the keyboard. I'm going to kind of take my time and hover through here. So you go in the middle of the keyboard. You might want to jot that down. I apologize. On your sheet, just press stat. Stat will take you into a screen that looks something like this. At that point, once you're in there, after pressing stat, you're going to choose edit. So number 1, you're going to edit the list. And there you have, we're right there on number 1 on our to graph a scatter plot. Enter the x values in L1, list 1, and enter the y values in L2. So we're going to come across over here, and I'm going to use, this is number 13 from your math book from section 10.2. So the first number we'll put it is 18. Press enter. Takes you down to the next location. 26. Enter. 32. Enter. 38. Enter. 52. Enter. 59. Enter. So now I have L1 entered there. And if you're having any troubles at this point, you can see to get in there I press stat. After pressing stat, I chose number 1. That's why I pressed enter. That's my key history for that first command. Alright, so let's go on to L2. I'm going to go ahead and clear this history. I'm going to use my side arrow to arrow over to L2, and then I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to put my Y values in L2. So that was 10, enter, 5, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 1.5, enter, and 1, enter. Now one thing I want to verify here as I look visually at my display on my graphing calculator is I want to make sure that I have the correct number of X's and Y's entered. And you can see here that my 59 and my 1 line up. And that's an ordered pair. So that's what I'd like. Alright, and that's what they're saying here in number 2. Make sure that your window values are appropriate. Select an X-min slightly less than the small. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a little bit different spot. That's okay. So we'll come on, we're going to leave number 2 and go on number 3. I'm going to press clear my history. And now to get to number 3, what we're going to do is we'll press the second button, which is up at the top left-hand corner. It's either yellow or blue, depending on the type of calculator you have. And then we're going to press the stat plot, which is the Y equal button, which is located up on the function buttons right below the screen. That'll take us to this screen here, which is where we set up our stat plots. Their command here on number 3 says the other Y functions should be turned off. And what they're saying here is this. They're saying make sure that it says plot 1 off, plot 2 off, plot 3 off, plot 4. Well, it says plots off. So if I just arrow down just to show you this, I have an option of turning all plots off or turning all plots on. And so I'm just going to go ahead and turn them all off real quick. Press enter. It says, what do you want to do? You want to turn the plots off? And I say yes. Press enter. And now let's go back to that same screen again. I'll clear my history. I go second, Y equals, because that's where its stat plot is in blue right there. Alright, and so now the last thing we need to do is we got all of our plots turned off. We're ready to start on our plots, but we really need to see that our graphs are also turned off. So if you press the y equals button, you notice here I would have had two other graphs being graphed. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrow over. See how I'm hovering on top of the equal sign right now? I'm going to press, well, you know what I could do instead? I'm just going to clear those out. I'm going to press clear. I'm going to go down to the second one and press clear, and now those are all gone. So one more time, to go back to my plot, where I'm going to do my stat plot. The stat plot is written in blue, so therefore I have to hit the second button first, then my stat plot. We're going to go into stat plot number 1. So to go into plot number 1 right here, the plot number 1 is highlighted, so I just go ahead and press enter. First thing on number 4, it says right here, move your cursor to the on and press enter. So I'm hovering over on, so I'm going to press enter, and now you can see it's turned on. Move the cursor to the graphics that look like a scatter plot next to type. So now I need to arrow down to type. Okay, so now well, that looks like a scatter plot. This would be a line graph. That would be a histogram. This would be a box and whisker with outliers. This is a box and whisker, and that is an ogive graph. You've read about those in your stat book this year. So we're going to go back, arrow back to the stat plot, the first one, and press enter to make sure that's chosen. All right, now it's asking you here, it says number 5 says move the cursor to the graphic that looks like a scatter plot. First one, make sure that your X list is L1 and your Y list is L2. Well, sure enough, because it comes default, that our X list will be L1 and our Y list will be L2. All right, so we're all set up. Now, I like to go back and do number 2 next. And on number 2, I found that the window key, which is located right here next to the Y equal, you see where my cursor is here halfway up the screen. It's on the function keys. They're telling you to go in and set your own window, which you could. So let's just mash that so you can see what it looks like. So here, we could set our own window. And your window probably looks different than my window. But like, if I wanted to go from, and I'm just going to type some numbers in, don't type these in. If I wanted to go from -10 on the x-axis, oops, I pressed the wrong thing. I didn't press negative. If I want to go from -10 to +10, going by ones, and from -10 to +10, and I'll just say going by ones again. You don't have to worry about the screen resolution right now. It's not something we need to worry about until we get some more advanced functions. So now if I hit graph, I don't even see my data values. And the reason I don't see my data values isn't because you did something wrong. It's because if you think about what your data values are, if I go and pull those back up for you, my data values on the x-axis are from 18 to 59. So that means my order on my y-axis, I go from 1 to 10. But my first order pair is 1810. My second one's 26.5, and so forth and so on. So when I go back to my graph, this area right here of my graph is only going to be big enough for an order pair of 10 by 10, 10 comma 10. So personally, I feel once, I'm going to go start from back from the beginning, once I have my plot set up, I've got it turned on, I've got chose scatter plot, I have my list chose, what I like to do is go into the zoom button. Zoom, this is kind of like a little shortcut that I've discovered and I've been pointed out by other mathematicians. If I press zoom, if I arrow down, and what the zoom button is that it actually sets. It goes and sets windows to the statistics that you are going to use or data that you're using. So here, number 9 is zoom stat. So I'll choose the zoom stat key, and bam, there's my scatter plot. So now, if I pull up my scatter plot and compare it with the scatter plot that they had, you can see that my data values are very, very close. One last little cool thing I can do with this calculator is that if I hit the trace key, now you can see it's actually going across my order pairs. So right there, it's flashing on the order pair at the top, and that's the order pair 18, 10. Then 26, 5, 32, 2, 38 comma 3, 52 comma 1.5, and 59 comma 1. So those are my ordered pairs, the same ordered pairs that are here, and so it's already drawn it for you. So pretty cool. I can see my graph. I can see what it looks like. I can make inferences now without having to do anything by paper and pencil. It seems like a lengthy process, but once you practice this technique and you look at this sheet and you jot yourself some notes, it's very quick and easy. So that's how to do a scatter plot with your TI-83 84 graphing calculator.